This is A plus primo grade A beef banter. So
You know what's hilarious is I did totally forget. Like I just spaced out, probably like a dad brain moment. But I have something very special for you, Matt. And I want you to listen closely.
well, I want to preface by saying I didn't even watch the damn game. So
Oh, good. Well, this will be the first time you hear it.
something about Saquon, blah blah blah.
And
There you
Barkley
go.
takes it into the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown, and the Giants take the lead.
Watch him. He's just going to take this thing all the way outside. Saquon Barkley.
Not only did the Giants beat the Packers, but Saquon Barkley
Saquon
had
beat
himself a
him.
game, had this game-winning touchdown. Oh, so good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
And also, Matt, before you get into your stuff, I said to cousin Greg, texted me to see how Matt was doing after the game. And I said, Matt hasn't responded. And I also said that he likely won't say anything all day. But not only did you not say anything all day, you haven't said a single word about it until we got on the podcast here.
I know.
You did not mention one word about the Giants, the Packers, the NFL, football, anything.
because I'm a man of honor and I'm
Past
still
few
going to bring
days.
up my drubbing. So
Yeah.
yeah. No, again, I didn't watch it. I was out gallivanting around Long Island, having a wonderful time. New York City and Long Island this weekend. But
Oh, wow.
Nice.
basically, I saw a score update that we were up at halftime,
Mm-hmm.
and I
It
saw
was only a 7-point game.
I saw
and a
kind
half.
of it was 20-10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, which again, as is seemingly every game for the past 10 years, we could play one good half of football, and then we've got like one half of like, oh my god, can we make it? But I just read a snippet of an article kind of eviscerated the Packers, like essentially saying they have like what is Mr. Jones gonna do? Like air it out and beat you with a pass? No, you know what they're gonna do. They're gonna go to Saquon. You know who you gotta stop. And they still didn't. And that was kind of the frustrating thing. Like they talk about this this revamped awesome defense that we've got, but yeah, we barely beat the third stringer on the Patriots last week. Like, come on, like this is we're in trouble. Like it's going to be a struggle just to make the playoffs this year. But the
I mean, who's good in that division, though?
the Vikings are out to a strong lead, and they beat us in the season opener. So that's the competition right now.
Okay.
But I mean, the Yeehaw guy is their quarterback. What's his name?
The guy from Michigan State.
Yeehaw guy,
Cousins.
right?
Kirk
Kirk Cousins. Woo! Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
You
care
like
to
that?
Give, I don't
Wait.
get. Yeah, there we go. I don't care to give.
Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
He's still in the NFL?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't
Yeah.
care to give him brain space. But one thing I did see, because a lot of my Cleveland friends are having meltdowns here for good reasons, because it sounds like Stefanski can't call a damn play right down there. But a friend of mine, I chuckled at this because he posted a tweet of the NFL rushing leaders through week 5. It's Nick Chubb at 593 yards, Saquon at number 2 with 533 yards. In number 3, Nick Chubb after contact, 415 yards. And then number 4 is Miles Sanders. Number 5 is Damian Pierce. So I got to chuckle out of that because everyone in Cleveland is basically screaming like run. Like Jacoby Brissett is actually playing fairly good. And yet they're still shooting themselves in the foot week after week after week. Like Jacoby, if you look, I actually looked at his numbers from the game this past week. I was like, wow, like that's not bad. Like that's Baker Mayfield or better level production that he's been giving them, and they're still losing. So now I'm sorry, everyone I love in Cleveland. I'm gonna say this is karma. This is Deshaun karma. But yeah, you live with that, especially when he's back. But yeah, I don't know that it. From what I heard from the Pack, I mean, I know they said I watched that critical 4th down play where the edge rusher swatted the ball away. Like it just sounded like a pretty terrible second half.
Yeah, they didn't score.
The other thing that sucks is it sounds like the morale on the team is actually wavering right now. So They had reports coming out that Rodgers was kind of pissed at the locker room morale, and everyone's already like worrying that they're going to lose to the Jets next. So at least I laugh, but Rodgers isn't that. Rodgers is his quirky, mercurial, weirdo self. He's not I'm going to get in your face and scream at you type quarterback. So, especially with a young crop of wide receivers and a talented team that just hasn't found it yet, I don't know if they're going to turn it around. And he'll, I'll eat my words because he'll do his relax, we'll be fine, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll go out and throw for like 700 straight touchdowns or something ridiculous because it's him. But
what are they, 3-2 after?
They're 3-2.
Yeah. Come on. The world's not ending.
Close enough after losing to you jamokes.
Are Packers fans like Yankees fans in that way? Like freaking out, like.
Nah, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
I'd say
Cowboys fans.
They're generally so full of cheese curds and Miller Lite that they're just pretty jovial. I read, and this made sense. I read why they were the last team to go play in London, which I thought was pretty neat. So they had kind of a league exception in a 16-game season that they wouldn't give up a home game to go play in London because. Losing a home game's worth of revenue really disproportionately impacts Packers because they don't have a billionaire owner. They are completely reliant on their TV and local revenue. As a small market team with me as one of their 200,000 owners. So that's why the NFL has said, okay, we'll give you a pass. But as soon as they went to 17 games in the season, and Packers, this was a year that they technically got an extra home game. The NFL went, all right, it's time for you to go now. So they still have their 8 home games this year. It's it's not going to disproportionately affect them. They do lose out of that revenue, but it's only fair that they finally go. Right, this is probably the Giants' 3rd or 4th time over there, right?
Yeah, I think they're undefeated.
No, really?
I think so. Yeah, they've played some like really bad teams. There's been like bad rain, I think, from what I remember.
Now relocating to Tottenham, the Tottenham football Giants.
Nothing wrong with it. Oh, and to build on your stats about the Chubb and Barkley, Chubb is second in the league right now in most yards from scrimmage with 630, and Barkley is number 1, 676. So good start for both of them this season.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't watch Barkley enough, but I do like Chubb. The fact that he's just he's literally your workman. He doesn't no flashy dances. He scores. Totally he sets the ball down. He runs away. Like that's, he's someone they need to erect a statue to in Cleveland, and also Jose Ramirez as we transition to the Yankees first win last night. Now, I just and I think the three of us all agree every time we watch him, it's like, holy crap, that guy's so good.
I think there was a reason why in the biggest moment of the game yesterday, it wasn't an intentional walk, but Garrett Cole threw 4 straight balls.
4 straight balls that weren't close. Yeah.
to Ramirez, and just went on to the next guy.
Well, and I knew he beat the crap out of the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, but I didn't realize that over 28 games he owned a 415 batting average. Like, damn. Yeah. And that's as a switch hitter. I love was it Booney who they quoted saying like, they say he's better from one side of the plate, but from what I can tell, there is no weakness. Like, he's good from both. So we're not going to pitch to him either way.
Yeah.
Chip, chop, chip.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be like a legit superstar if he played for the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Red Sox, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he loves Cleveland, and that they
it's
told
great.
The story, which I didn't hear the full story, but I mean, essentially he said, my daughter was born here. I like living here. I like the people here.
Yeah, that's what Costas was saying.
Yeah. And again, good for him. I hope he becomes revered like all of the other, big name all-time Cleveland folks. Because,
like the 90s Indians guys, kind of.
Yeah, but I mean, even like I was about to say like Jim Thome, but even Thome left. So I hope
he got traded, didn't he?
I thought he signed with the Phillies.
Signed with the Phillies. Yeah.
They might have traded him. I don't know, but
I can't remember.
He came back. Old Jimmers came back Shout out to Matt Seemiller for showing me there was one of the best parody Twitter accounts out there back 10 years ago was Jim Tomey's parody Twitter account talking about how Jim Jam loved to mash taters. And it was pure comedy gold.
Amazing.
Before we get too far down the baseball rabbit hole, I just want to say, if you haven't seen the play yet, Matt or Ethan, the touchdown is obviously the big play that has been played on Sports Center in the highlight reels. But Saquon also had a nice little juke for a 41-yard run, I believe it was.
Man, I'm kind
at
of
some
distracted
point
from the football
in the
game.
second half. So definitely check out that highlight.
All right,
Who did he juke? Do you remember the name?
I don't remember. No.
Because I'm glad I held my tongue, because the guy, like, we have, I think it's Devondre Campbell, who was like a journeyman linebacker who we signed last year on a 1-year deal for $5 million. He was an all-pro. So he's been like a high level, which we haven't had a middle linebacker like that since, I mean, even, AJ Hawk didn't play at that level.
AJ Hawk.
Yeah, I'm throwing that name out there, and actually I will say the last linebacker that we had was close to that was Mr. Ramirez, the guy the Giants signed away from
Blake Martinez.
There we go. And he was a tackling machine, and that's been a shame to see that he can't stay on the field in New York either. Because
he got cut. He's done.
I know, but I mean he was hurt. He was hurt.
Hurt. I think he tore his ACL. Yeah.
So, so I was gonna say like, oh, Campbell's gonna stuff Barkley, and I'm glad I kept my mouth shut. So.
Can't eat that one. The other football thing we should talk about really quick before we get to beer.
Okay, good.
So I have the hat, I have the shirt.
Wow.
They're both playing big games this weekend. Syracuse got NC State at the JMA Wireless Dome, and Penn State goes to Michigan, goes to the Big House, the big noon kickoff. Do we think either one of them walks away with a victory this weekend?
Both are going to win.
Both? Ooh, that's bold.
I'm being an optimist.
Good for you.
Just for fun, just trying it on. It feels a little weird. Okay, it feels a little cramped. It feels a little stuffy. This outfit. Okay, I don't love it, but I'm trying it.
Okay, we'll talk World Affairs later, and you can rip that outfit off. Don't worry.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, isn't Syracuse is giving up 3 points right now? Right, they're the favorite.
They are.
I believe they were a 3-point favorite.
Wow.
Which is weird. It's also very weird to scroll through the NCAA football tab on ESPN and to see Syracuse listed as a top 25 team when you look at the games. You normally have to
really weird.
Use the drop down and go to the ACC because they're never listed in the top 25. So that's weird. And the fact that what we say last time, it's the first matchup of two ranked teams at the JMA Wireless Dome for over 20 years.
Yeah, what'd you say, like 2001 or something?
2001.
Oh my God!
This is weird.
I was gonna say that's like McNabb years, isn't it?
Yeah,
or close to it.
Yeah, it's got to be a McNabb year. Yeah.
The one thing I will say, and the reason I'm rooting for them, and I hope they do well, and I hope they can keep this going, but they've lost a prime starter for the season in 5 straight games. So they are being absolutely decimated by the injury bug. Even at Wagner, they lost one of their starters. So that's going to be the thing they have to overcome this year.
5 guys already?
5 guys, 1 per game. It feels like have suffered season-ending injuries.
Jesus.
So they're a depleted squad. But on the flip side, it's also fun to read articles where ESPN runs their college football power index simulator, and 10 times out of 20,000 simulations, Syracuse makes the college football playoff. So, you're saying there's a chance, right?
You're saying there's a chance.
To quote the Little Giants, there's that one time that Rick Moranis beat Kevin, whatever his older brother's name, down the hill. Kevin O'Shea. So, you never know. It's obviously not going to happen, but it's fun to it's like buying a lotto ticket. It's not going to win, but it's fun to imagine for about 20 seconds.
It could happen.
I've blathered about the Q's, Colin. Give us the scoop on Penn State. So what are the rankings? I know they're obviously going to be an underdog going into the
top
Big 10.
House. Yeah,
but it's 2 top 5 ranked teams now.
Michigan's 5, Penn State's 10.
Still 2 top 10 teams going at it in the Big 10 in the Big House, 100,000 people.
Yep. The line opened at 7. Michigan was a touchdown favorite, which seems very generous.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I do not see it. I think the one thing I'm confident about is I do not see a blowout one way or another. I see like shades of the 2005 game that I talked about on the
Most
podcast.
traumatic game of your life.
Yeah, kind of back and forth, some sloppiness, turnovers, different things like that. Neither quarterback is amazing, so I wouldn't be surprised, if there are a couple turnovers here and there. But I feel good. Clifford's a 6-year senior. He's pretty much done and seen everything. He's won in Michigan before. Granted, it was the COVID year. If he doesn't have it, I think they could move to the freshman to LR at quarterback, and that's something that I don't think ever in my life at Penn State we've been able to say that we could go to a backup and be confident that they could produce. So, I think they got good options. I think they got their really bad game out of the way against Northwestern, and hopefully the turnover bug won't carry over. But Franklin keeps saying all the right things. He's 3-5 coming off a bye week. He has changed their routine coming off of this bye week. So we will see if that has any difference. But they get the win this week, and then things get exciting. They'll have Michigan a night game, Minnesota a whiteout the week after, and that's Ohio State. And so these next 3 weeks are pretty much their season. Because if they can get through that, they'll probably be favored the rest of the way out. But if they stumble somewhere, we're probably looking at more of the same, which isn't the worst thing in the world.
I mean, 10-2 or 11-1 is still great, right?
Right. But would love to take that next step. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Matt, if Joe Paterno were still alive, and he wanted to use this huge matchup as like a recruiting opportunity, what do you think he would say?
Oh man, he would go Penn State.
There it is. Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Good every time.
And then he'd be like, I pooped myself, because it feels like he's squeezing out a little poop there.
Right. Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh man, again, you guys want to laugh? Watch that commercial. It's just gold every time.
It is. How do we find it again, Matt? Like, what's the search to do for it?
Just literally YouTube. Come to Penn State.
Oh, and it'll come up. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Or like Big Ten football commercial or something like that.
And it's like his inflection. It's like Joe Pa's inflection. So like the voice is like crazy and raspy, but there's also like the inflection raises a bit at the end. It's like, come to Penn State, and like there's like this kind of way that like it's really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not only does it raise, but there's a little bit of like a shakiness to it. Like,
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. It's
I
really
could play it right now.
great.
I just don't know if it would play over the audio, but I mean, I got it frozen right on his face. Yeah, but literally just search "Come to Penn State" commercial. That's all you need to see.
Okay. Yeah. Genius. All right. So what's up next?
Beers.
Beers. All right.
What are you drinking, Ethan?
I am having my second heady that Matt sent to me. Thank you, Matt.
Sorry, I sent him 2, Colin. I only got 1.
Yeah, no worries.
There's no more room in the box.
Yeah.
So you got tasty cakes, yeah.
Yeah. I think Colin would take the tasty cakes over the heady anytime. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. Still only the second time I've ever had it. So thank you, Matt. Very exciting.
Colin, what do you got?
Let's see.
Batting trophy.
Batting.
Okay.
Batting 1,000.
All right.
An IPA from Trophy.
How is it?
When I went to Raleigh to meet up with my mom before going up to Penn State, we hit Wegmans, to get some tailgating stuff. And
shout out to the commish.
Yep. Shout out commish, and got myself. I had to get something Trophy because I love their beer. It's great. And I saw this and I was like, playoffs coming around, it'd be a great beer to have. And it is a pretty tasty beer. I like it. It's a good one.
Speaking of the commish, I got a follow on Instagram from the commish. I feel honored.
Wow.
There you go.
She needs to get a profile picture going, but yeah, I'm fine. It looks like some anonymous person is following me, but thank you for the follow.
Oh man.
So have either of you guys tried the glazed orange yet?
Oh yeah, I had it. I meant to tell you. I drank it at some point. I guess last week. It was good. It was tasty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
wish I
Hot
could.
Butcher, right?
Yeah, I wish I had the milkshake version to get to Colin because that tastes like a creamsicle.
Mhm.
But
And they're out of
yeah,
Michigan, Matt. Is that right?
Chicago.
They're out of Chicago. Because
Remember?
the artist, I think the artist is too. I actually follow the artist who made the label for that. I actually follow him on Instagram. I can't
Oh
remember.
shoot.
Yeah, like Dan Grecha or something is his
Okay.
name. He
I
has like a
mean,
lot of really cool art. Yeah.
all their labels are really cool.
Yeah.
But it's got that like scribbled look to it, which is also like it's edgy.
Yeah. Right. Right.
These hops are gonna bite you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
I'm drinking Twice Baked Break, which is a riff on Evil Twins Biscotti Break, which is a stout with biscotti in it. But this is a Evil Twin collaboration with, I'm holding this up for everyone who's watching, Mortalis, who I normally have the Mortalis hat on. That's just it's out in my car right now. But yeah, so this is pretty tasty. I chose it because it's not too strong. It's only 10%. It's nice and tasty. It's got a good balance. I'm trying to look up the ingredients before while I keep rambling here. Twice Baked Break. So let's see what we got here. Uses Dominican chocolate, Madagascar vanilla, in-house toasted almonds, and over 100 pounds of actual chocolate almond biscotti.
Holy shit.
Create this wonderful break 2 times over. So very, very good.
Sounds amazing.
Happy I found it on the shelves down in Maryland.
Probably way too sweet for me, but sounds really good.
It is sweet.
Yeah.
It would be something I'd suggest if it were you, just having a little taste.
Yeah, like a shot. I feel like, you know what? Now I'm thinking like all these pastry stouts. Yeah, like a shot worth is like what I can do.
I mean, if
That's
I
what I
could
do
like
with all
scoop up
Matt's
some ice
beers.
cream and just put it right
Oh.
in there, that's what I really need.
Oh, that would actually be amazing. I didn't think about that. Like turn it into dessert, like turn it into a fucking float with like a scoop of
Yeah.
vanilla ice cream or something. That would be
like,
amazing.
perfect because it is
Yeah.
syrup.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Have to
Mortalis
try
is
that.
known. Mortalis is up outside of Rochester. They're known for their like thick, syrupy stouts. So it's one of the best beers I've had. I haven't been able to track it down since the first time I visited there. But they make a Nutter Butter stout,
Oh.
which it tastes like the cookies. It was so amazing. It even had that like pithy peanut feeling that sticks to your mouth after eating Nutter Butter. Like,
Mhm.
it was so good. But I've never been able to get my hands on it since I visited the first time. And I'm hoping I have better odds now. They just opened their tap room was like impossible to get beer in because they were hardly ever open and they always sold out. But they have a cocktail lounge now in the city of Rochester. I think it's called like the Dog House or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Uh,
Wow.
I think I don't know if I can continue after that. I think
I mean,
we're gonna transition.
Colin's a dad now, and he's about to be a dad 2 times over soon. You know, it's to be expected.
Just trying to bring some levity to the conversation.
Well, okay. I will say this past weekend I was at a birthday party, a toddler's birthday party, and I felt like I missed. I mean, I know what Baby Shark is, but it was embarrassing how long it took. Like I was like, oh, it's got the jazz intro to it. Ah! Like I completely missed. Like, oh, this is Baby Shark. Meanwhile, all of the parents there like immediately knew like, oh, that's Baby Shark. Here we go.
Oh yeah, Coco Melon is the world of kids these days. It's like Barney when we were growing up. Like
Wow.
Coco Melon. I know. Matt, did you end up watching Ted Lasso?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so you remember, guys, when Jamie Tart
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I knew
right.
that was literally the first time I had ever heard it. I never paid that much like close attention to the Nationals when they did it in the 2019 playoff run and everything. So I had like never actually heard the song. And so I'm like singing it one day and I'm like, this is a catchy tune. And Toddy was like, that's Baby Shark, right? I was like, how would I know that? we hadn't had Stella yet, obviously, or maybe we had just had Stella when the first Ted Lasso season came out, and obviously she wasn't listening to Baby Shark yet.
Right.
No, you were still playing her
now,
Yankees highlights at that point.
Yeah.
yeah, right. Exactly. She watched the Yankees this morning. She was thrilled. She was like, Yankees win. She was doing because Sterling came on at the end. She was repeating him and everything.
Amazing.
Oh man, you should get footage of that and make it go viral, and then like start her college fund.
Yeah, right. She's usually watching it on my phone. That's the hard thing. Like I couldn't. She was on Sunday. I wanted to troll you even harder, Matt. But she was watching. It's called Stillwater. It's a TV show about a panda and three little kids. On Apple TV. I'm sure you've seen it if you've been on my account. And she was watching that on my phone so that we could actually watch the Giants game on the big TV. So that it was the way to keep her occupied.
All right. That's why you were conspicuously quiet while the Packers got drubbed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I at least got the Jamie Tart reference in Ted Lasso. I knew that much. I just had never actually heard the song from the beginning, and
I had no idea. I thought it was a great tune. Not a clue.
Ethan, you should record like a multi-instrument cover.
Yeah, I should. Well, it's so I obviously never knew anything about kids music of any kind or kids shows until I took this job, and I, as you guys know, I came down here and started teaching little kids in fall of 2019.
What is Mr. Crumps? Isn't that one of the names?
I don't know what Mr. Crumps is.
I thought that was like one of the names the kids gave you. Actually, I think that's what Michael Jordan called Jerry Krause.
Oh, they called me Mr. Banjo.
Oh yeah.
But so Baby Shark was introduced to me that fall because I was still teaching in classrooms at the time. I was teaching classroom general music with little kids, and so I got enough Baby Shark to last me a lifetime in those like 6 months before COVID hit. I think I did play it for somebody on banjo one time. I can't remember for one of my students or something. Yeah, I did play it on the banjo, but I got my fill. But I did learn, I learned a bunch of bunch of songs that I didn't previously know. So it was very valuable. There's one called the Bear Hunt. Colin, you should do the Bear Hunt with Stella sometime. We're going on a bear hunt, and it's like you do you act out and all this kind of shit. The kids love it. Oh, she might not be old enough just yet, but you should at some point. But
okay.
Yeah. So Baby Shark, I'm good.
Toddy's going to be coming after you tomorrow for saying that Stella's dumb.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, she might not be
you
old enough.
Having the conversation about killing a wild animal with her.
I'm just saying.
What hunting is.
There are specific directions in it. Like you go through the peanut butter river, and you're supposed to pretend you're eating peanut butter, and then you go through the there's a gumdrop thing. I don't know. You go through these different things, right? And you're supposed to act it out. And so I just was thinking maybe it would be a little bit too much going on for Stella to follow all of it. I don't know.
I assigned a much darker outcome to that. I was thinking Ethan was trying to protect her from the dark realities of hunting animals. And...
No. At the end, they run away. They run away from the bear. Yeah. Yeah, and so and then they're like, oh, we made it, phew, oh, we open the door and we close it and blah blah blah. Yeah, so they run away from the bear. There's no actual violence or anything, it's just that they're going through a cave and they have to drink the milk that they brought and all this. It's a whole thing.
I gave you an out and you just put yourself right back in to Toddy making fun of you now.
I mean, she can make fun of me if she wants to. Stella's gonna fucking love this shit eventually, whenever she's ready. So, and then Toddy and Colin can hear this song many, many, many times, and you're welcome for that.
Looking forward to it. Thank you. So, do you guys want me to get a couple things off my chest here?
Yes, actually, yes, I do, because so we know we know one of the things you're gonna talk about, and before you get into it, can you give a little context, because I did not get to watch the game last night, and so I did not hear the broadcasting that you had mentioned to us earlier. So give us a little context before you get into this.
Sure. And I'm going to get to it in a second. I have a couple other real quick hitters
Okay.
that I want to throw at both of you. First, I'll give a shout out to cousin Greg. Nice big win by the Phillies yesterday in game 1. Last check I saw, it was
Pretty impressive.
Through 6. They had a big rain delay today in Atlanta. So we'll see if they can steal another one before heading home to Philly.
Yeah.
Robbie Thompson also got a 2-year contract.
I saw that. I wonder, that's got to be such a weird thing, though. Wasn't he Joe's bench coach for like years?
Yeah.
And then Joe gets fired, he takes over, does a lot better, and gets extended. Like, that's got to be such a super weird dynamic, I would think, between Joe and Rob. No?
Yeah. I mean, hopefully Joe knows his
his business.
Yeah, no, of course, but it just still seems weird to me. Like, what does Rob do so differently from Joe? I would think that they would be pretty similar philosophically speaking. You know?
I mean, think about Tori and Zimmer.
Yeah.
They weren't. I mean, maybe there's some philosophical similarities, but I mean, they were completely different people.
So you're saying if you rub Rob Thompson's head, it's good luck?
Right. Exactly. Nobody was rubbing Joe Torre's head, I'll tell you that much.
Right.
No, and actually, so just quick
Adrian
aside, in the 12 players that Baseball Reference shows when you like log on to Baseball Reference, Joe Torre came up the other day in his playing days, and I forgot, like, ooh, like I'm no looker, but man, like his playing day photo is just scary. Like, ooh, like
Nice Italian.
ooh.
Nice Italian from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was a really good player, though. He was one of the few like super successful managers who was also like a really good player.
Yeah. Was he MVP 1 year?
I think he might have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either that or batting champ, but I think it was MVP.
Yeah. Yeah. So just wanted to give a quick shout out there. Shout out to all of my Mets fans.
Oh,
Did I not tell you Buck Showalter cannot get it done? So I don't care if we talk about the whole sticky stuff situation, but I want to give you guys a stat. Buck Showalter has been a manager in Major League Baseball for 20 non-strike seasons. He has never won a single championship series game in his managerial career.
You mean like playoff series?
Playoffs, championship series. He's gotten to the championship series.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the ALCS? Okay.
Yeah.
He's gotten there. I believe with Baltimore.
That sounds right. But has never. Did they get swept?
They must.
Then they got swept. He's never won a game in the ALCS. Wow.
In his entire career, or NLCS for that matter, because he's managed in both leagues. So you're welcome.
But what's interesting about this, real quick, was it which year did they get swept by the Royals? 14 or 15?
14, I think.
Regardless, we know the Royals were really good in 14 and 15. We also know that Ned Yost was their manager. So this goes back to what I have been saying all along, which is that I think managers we probably put too much on managers just in general, because I'm not saying that Buck Showalter by any means is amazing tactically, but Ned Yost is about as bad as it gets. I mean, I wish I could come up with like specific stories, but he's been gone for a few years. But I just remember like back in those days with the Royals, some of the head scratching shit he would do all the time.
Yeah.
And his fucking Royals swept the O's. Like, they were just really good and really talented. I don't think that like Ned Yost out strategized Buck Showalter, you know?
Right.
Is Ned Yost better or worse than Tony La Russa?
Oh no, that's an interesting question.
Tony La Russa now, he's better. Tony La Russa 20 years ago was better than Ned Yost.
That sounds probably right. Yeah.
But
So I will say, just a quick note. I don't fault Buck for initiating the check, whether it's a combination of gamesmanship or the stats, because the
spin rates you sent,
rates that was the main thing. So when they initiated the spin rate or the sticky stuff ban a couple years ago, or last year,
mm-hmm.
Pitchers on average, their spin rate dropped, I think 60 RPM on average, but you saw pitchers, I think Kenley Jansen's cutter dropped 140 RPM.
Wow.
Cole's fastball dropped around 100 RPM. You saw some really, like, 100 was considered a huge, huge drop. So to see Musgrove on his slider be up 250 RPM, is suspicious. And in defense of Buck, it's like, well, like his team is losing. What else is he going to do? I mean, everything was up at least 100 RPM, and 3 of his pitches were more than 170 RPM up, which is an enormous jump.
I bet he was doing something and he just didn't get caught.
It could be that. I mean, Colin did say adrenaline. I wonder if was he gripping the ball extra hard, and does he have blisters now? I don't know. Like, but it was suspicious, and they're getting their asses handed to them. So I don't blame Buck for looking at the data, looking at how the pitches were going something's up. Plus, you factor in the shiny ears, but that was what they kept talking about, the shiny ears. But so I don't fault him for that, and that might be the new reality of things moving forward. So it is curious, but it like you guys said, the hot take. It looked desperate. It looked kind of sad. Musgrove made the Mets look pretty silly.
Yeah. And I don't know if it had turned out the other way. I don't know if I feel differently, but I still feel very strongly that it was a poor desperation move.
Well, so say they do find something, right? And he's ejected in the 7th inning. Like, do they replay the game? Right? That's
the question.
If the Mets don't win, they go home. So if that cheating gets the Padres to the next round, then maybe that's the reality of the playoffs. Maybe pitchers make the assumption now that, well, like, if I have to win this game, I'm going to load the ball up, or I'm going to use sticky stuff because I might be going home anyway.
Right.
This might be the last game I pitch this year anyway. Why not try? Like, why not push the boundaries of that rule? So that's where the Brian Kenny argument came into play, where it's like, okay, at first I thought he was kind of a low shot that he was taking, but then I thought, after he described himself, and by the way, he wasn't saying all he was doing is presenting the data. He wasn't saying that there was cheating on the MLB Network. This is Brian Kenny, former ESPN analyst. He just was saying, this is what Buck was looking at, and here's where he may be they may be incentivized to do something to the ball. But not a good look anyway, especially when you put in the context that Buck can't win a playoff series.
There was one amazing stat that I saw, and granted, this is partially because of the new playoff setup where you have to play a 3-game series for the wild card. But Colin, I'm sure you saw this. The Mets this year are the first ever 100-win team to not make it to the division series. So pretty rough. I feel bad for the Mets fans. I really do.
Also, weren't they one of the only teams to ever only get one hit in a playoff game?
Oh, I didn't see anything.
I think they were one of the first teams to ever get one hit in a playoff game.
Wow.
Bobby Jones pitched a one-hitter for the Mets in 2000 on their way to the World Series.
Might have been an elimination game.
Yeah.
It's really wild though, because sorry, Matt.
One of those weird baseball, Elias Sports Bureau stats or something.
Toddy will be texting you about that one too.
It's really crazy because, like, when they got Scherzer, it was such a coup, right? And this was exactly the type of situation, right? Where at the beginning of the year, if we would have thought about the Mets in the playoffs playing a 3-game series or even a 5-game series, we would have said, oh my God, the Mets are going to have a massive advantage because of Scherzer and DeGrom. And Scherzer got fucking lit up, And I'm very curious in the offseason of what we're going to hear about that. I'm wondering if something is up with him. But in any case, we don't need to keep talking about the Mets. I just thought that was very interesting that he got fucking destroyed. Like, it was bad.
I love it. Love it. So good. And unfortunately, the dreaded Astros came back and won yesterday. Because,
Jordan hit a fucking bomb.
I mean, the decision to bring in Robbie Ray after their closer, who, let's just say social
really
media
weird.
is like the worst place in the world. People are awful. Like, this is another example of this dude. I can't remember what his name is. He deleted his social media accounts yesterday because he's just getting death threat after threat, like just getting torn apart. I think he's like 24 years old.
Oh my God.
And whatever. Just terrible. Anyway, he was struggling. And, so the Mariners make the move. And to bring in Ray, I mean, it was questionable, but to me, it wasn't like the craziest decision in the world. I'm like, he's a former Cy Young Award winner. Like, all right, give it a shot. The first pitch he throws his fastball right down the middle, and Jordan takes a huge cut fouls it straight back. And I'm like, all right, he got away with one. Next pitch, same thing. Fastball right down the middle. What do you think's going to happen? Well, Jordan turned on it, hit the longest recorded StatCast, or the hardest hit StatCast home run in postseason history.
117, I think.
To walk it off for the Astros. Like, it all happened that quickly. It was 2 pitches, 2 fastballs right down the middle. When you have swing and miss stuff, like, I don't think his fastball is like a Garrett Cole fastball, like overpowering. Like, he's got nasty off speed stuff. Like, I just didn't understand the pitch selection. Like, that's the part that really is
not only the pitch selection. Why are you pitching to him in general?
Yeah,
there's only one other player in the American League, and I think the whole league, that has an OPS above 1,000.
Yeah,
you got Aaron Judge and Jordan Alvarez. Jordan Alvarez, if you delete Shohei Ohtani and you delete Aaron Judge from the league, he's the MVP.
I was actually going to say that.
He had an incredible season. He had an incredible, like an all-time, top 50 offensive season ever. That is overshadowed just because there's a guy named Aaron Judge playing in New York right now. So why are you pitching to him with a base open?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
I will never, ever condone intentional walks.
Yes. Yeah.
Ever. But I was going to make a similar point that, we were so caught up with Judge and Ohtani this season, and for good reason. But, like, Jordan's really good. He was worth 6.8 WAR this year, like, he's really excellent. And even if I would never, ever condone intentional walks, I certainly, just throwing fastballs and catching that much at the plate. I mean, you got to be airing. Like, if you're going to throw fastballs, you got to be going for the edge of the plate so hard and if you miss, you got to be off the plate, right? Like, you have to be hit him. Like, you got to be airing to the, like, if you're going to, you got to be going outside or inside. You can't let yourself be coming back in. Like, throw balls, like, just that very edges of the zone to let yourself catch that much. I mean, like,
even if you're not intentionally walking him, like, you're right. Throw around him. Don't catch that much of the zone.
Yeah, do what Cole did with Ramirez.
Wouldn't you rather pitch to the 820 OPS Bregman than the 111 or 1011?
Like 1019. I just pulled it up. Yeah.
Even though Bregman did hit a 2-run homer early.
Right, and Bregman is great, but
But also, I mean, Jordan Alvarez looks like he eats 1.5 Bregmans on, his PB&J for sandwich, for lunch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he looks he looks fucking huge
compared to him.
Yeah,
right? Like,
it's funny, by the measurements, Jordan is smaller than Judge. He's the same height, I think, as Stanton, but I think he maybe is listed as weighing less. But looking at him, I mean, he looks as big as Judge. Yeah, he's fucking huge. Yeah. So that sucked because, if the Yankees do end up taking it from Cleveland, which I do not think is a guarantee, by the way, I think I could very easily see us losing. But it seems, I mean, I would love for the Mariners to win, but it seems unlikely that they're going to get past the Astros. The other thing is, we talked about Jordan being in the shadow of Judge and Ohtani. The Astros won 106 games this year. Like, 100, I think this actually came up recently on the pod. We talked about this a while back, right? About seasons where you win upwards, like 105 games and more and shit like that. It's incredibly rare in baseball history. And then, of course, the Dodgers won 111 this year, and the Astros won 106. Obviously, the Dodgers winning 111 is crazy, and they just were so goddamn good that people weren't talking about the Astros as much, but, like, they won 106 games. They're like amazing. And if the Yankees do manage to get by Cleveland, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Astros have our number again. But
I mean, they got to be one of the only. I was telling this to Toddy this morning. They got to be one of the only franchises in sports who's undefeated against the Yankees in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's okay. The Yankees we're gonna win. We're gonna pitch Nestor in games 1, 3, 5, and 7. It's gonna be an amazing effort. His arm will fall off, but we're gonna win game 7 on a Marwin Gonzalez bloop single to right center field.
Marwin. People are pissed that he's on the roster instead of Peraza. I've been seeing shit about that.
He's versatile.
Yeah. Who would have thought that in 2022 for the Yankees pitching staff that Nestor Cortez was going to be 4.2 baseball reference WAR, best on the team, By quite a bit, actually. Cole was like, what was
Half
he, like
that.
2.6 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking Nestor Cortez, 2.4. 2.4. So, Nestor Cortez, the ace of the 2022 Yankees. Crazy.
And we'll top this conversation off tonight with a little talk about hustle culture.
Oh, I really hope my dad listens to this episode. He probably won't, but
If you do,
I wanna-
Jim, how you doing?
how you doing?
I want to say in general, the hustle culture, especially in this country, in America, is so fucking stupid. And one of my favorite people, Snea Mandela, who works for Fanatics, her and I connected like 5 or 6 years ago. We talk basically at least once a month, text every once in a while. She just gave a TED talk in Reno a couple months ago now about flow and about getting into the zone in your work, efficiency, those type of things, and how hustle culture is obviously fucking stupid. Like, why are we working ourselves into the ground for this capitalistic society that only rewards the billionaires that we've ranted about on this podcast before?
Yeah, preach. I love it.
So overall, I fucking hate hustle culture. And for the most part, I am in agreement. I know Matt kind of will be a little bit more neutral on things and definitely poke both of us. But I tend to agree with Ethan more. The reason I'm so fired up about it, though, is because Bob Costas, who, by the way, I really respect, and I was actually really excited to see that he was calling the Yankees series, immediately during the game last night starts talking about Cleveland and how they're this young team and they hustle all the time and they run out all these balls and they did just play fundamental baseball. They're a great team to watch. Okay, whatever it is. So Bob is going on and on. Poor Ron Darling barely got any words in last night. Like, Ron was just trying to do his best
okay.
man Scully, and
The less Ron Dowling, the better.
yes, yeah, I totally agree with that. But at the same time, I definitely felt a little bit bad for him. Anyway, Costas got his moment when I think it was in the 4th inning, a very easy target, and Josh Donaldson hit a ball to the short porch out in right field that hit off the very top of the wall, just like in the 2000 World Series against the Mets when Todd Zeile hit the very top of the wall in left field, and Justice got the ball in. They threw Jeter had the great relay to throw out Timo Perez at the plate. It was a huge play in the series. Same exact thing, bounces off the top of the wall, and instead of bouncing over into the seats, it comes back onto the field immediately. So that happens, and Donaldson thinks it's a homer, so he's jogging around first, gets caught in a pickle, gets thrown out at first. Immediately, Costas goes into, well, if he had been running out of the box head down, he'd have a double. Now, while that may be true, here's where I have a problem with hustle culture. I have 2 things that I want to talk about. The first thing is everyone else on that field thought it was a home run, including the right fielder, including the second baseman who caught the ball. And if you watch the replay, isn't really sure what to do with the ball. He's kind of like looking around because the umpires, who were just as culpable for what happened with Donaldson, they didn't have enough conviction in what call they were going to make on the field, even though there's an extra umpire in the playoffs down the line for situations just like this. So we don't have another Jeffrey Mayer. The first base coach for the Yankees gave Donaldson a high five as he was rounding the base, thought it was a home run. So everyone on the field thought the ball had left the park. So I'm already fired up because I'm like, how can you just assume? And it wasn't just Costas. I mean, Cameron Maben, who I love, killing him on Twitter. Bunch of people on Twitter killing him. Hustle culture. Got to put your head down. Got to run. You could have had a double. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the other part. I was listening to an interview with Conan O'Brien and the comedian Leslie Jones.
Awesome.
And they were talking about one of the fundamental problems in this country specifically is that we adore people from the past so much that we have a hard time accepting greatness right now. So they were talking about comedians. They were talking about musicians. They were like Whitney Houston, Richard Pryor, like all these guys. They were fucking great back in the day. And everyone wants to compare to them when it's like, no, right in front of you right now is amazing. It's awesome. Comedy's great right now. Music's great right now. And that's the same thing with baseball. We get stuck in these things where we're always comparing to fucking Babe Ruth and Honus Wagner.
Yeah, baseball fans are like the worst. Yeah.
Yeah, and all these guys from forever. And like it's great to remember the past and to honor the greats who had played. But like at some point you just have to accept the fact that the game is different now. Like it's not what it was back then. And Josh Donaldson is not an exception to the rule. 99 times out of 100, that is how players are going to react in that situation today. Rewind 40 years back, it's not going to be like that. But that's okay. That's how it was back then. This is how it is now. Why can't we just accept that this is how it is? These players are still amazing players, but just because they don't have your hustle culture from what baseball was in the 1960s and 1970s doesn't mean that they're devalued in any way, or that they're not as worthy of being on the field as Reggie Jackson or as some of these people from the past. Like that really hit home when I heard it in a different context from like a different industry and different people. I was like, that is a real thing. I think that is that's legitimate. I really buy into it, and I think I'm even guilty of it sometimes. So I'm not saying I'm perfect with it, but it's definitely made me more aware, and I want to be better with that in the future. That's my rant. As close to a rant as I'll ever get.
Yeah.
You or me, Ethan?
Whatever you want. Are you locked and loaded?
As a former umpire.
That's where we're going. Okay.
I'm not going to make them culpable for this, because if they're not giving little twirly do, it's not a home run.
But they didn't give any signal.
But that means live ball. That means live ball.
Yes, you're right, Matt. You are right.
So I agree with you in the fact that, to me, the most damning is that, like, I don't even know who it is. The first base coach is like high five and like, yeah, got a home run. So shame on him for not confirming with the umpires.
Yeah, really.
Mm-hmm. They don't have to signal safe. Arms out, meaning not a home run. They don't have to do that.
But why is that? Why is there a reason for that? I'm not even being a dick. I'm just wondering.
Because it's in play. The ball bounced in play.
But like, if you're relying on if you don't know, if you're not sure, so like that right fielder wasn't. I mean, he was close to the ball, but he wasn't like that close. Like you're kind of relying on a visual cue to say like, okay, keep going. Like a whistle in football or in basketball.
What's it mean? Play to the whistle. There is no whirly do, which means.
But is that a well-known rule?
I'm saying if he's not signaling home run, it's a live ball until otherwise.
I'm saying though, is that a well-known rule?
Yes.
Like players know that though. Yes. I'm not saying amongst umpires. Like players know that if you don't see anything but this, keep playing.
Yeah. I feel like everyone should know that.
Okay.
So, but again, I don't blame Josh, because you can see the weird. I mean, I was convinced watching it live that it hit the guy's hand. So
yeah.
I thought home run too, or at least fan interference, dead ball, hands up. But again, hands weren't up, hands weren't out. There was no signal, which means play on. And even you're right. I mean, there are cases where there's delayed signals. So there are,
what is hands out? What is that again?
In play.
If it's not safe.
Yeah, just not a home run.
Play. So why couldn't he do that though? I don't get it. The ball was in play. So where is that?
I mean, in the absence of a signal.
Okay.
It's kind of like you don't have to signal for a ball. It's just a ball.
Okay. Agree to disagree there.
And there are delayed signals, right? There, the obstruction signal is a fist out, but you let the play finish. In this case, though, it's a live ball. So that's where I go, come on, Josh, you've been in the league long enough to know. But taking the moment for what it was I don't blame him. I don't at all. I don't think that's a bad. It's one of those. I wish like you should know better, but man, I probably would have done the exact same thing if I were you. So, no judgment there.
Wow, that was tame.
I got the umpire perspective.
That was good. That was good. I appreciate you answering the hard hitting questions.
See, this is tough because so I didn't actually see a highlight of it, so I should watch and see what it looked like, if it was one of those, because sometimes you get it right where the guy really connects and the sound off the bat is like super super loud and you're just sure it's gonna go out and then it just dies at the
Nolan
wall.
Arenado did that.
Right, that's exactly the
St.
example I'm
Louis.
thinking of. Yeah, exactly right. That happens frequently. That's a common occurrence, right? So it's possible that that was the case here. But I'm also thinking about when we, were shitting all over the Blue Jays, 2-3 weeks ago, and especially Vladdy Jr., who pulled the same thing, right? And so all I'm saying is like, huh? I mean, it sounds like, so it's one thing, yeah, if you hit it to right field in Yankee Stadium, like, and you think you got it all, yeah, you have a good chance of it going out. We know that. But, like, I don't know. I still think you have to be like, Giancarlo Stanton level certain. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna pimp it, if you're just gonna take your sweet ass time. Now I didn't see. I don't know how lightly he was jogging, how slowly he was jogging.
Yeah,
like
I don't think he was pimping it quite as hard as Vlad did in that really bad play that Vlad had.
Yeah.
But he did pull.
I don't know if he was running hard.
But he did pull a full Swaggy P move there. I mean, he should have known.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely slowed up once he got the handshake.
Yeah, and that's to your point though. That's what I was gonna say. That's the thing I think that like makes me be a little bit more forgiving. Is like everybody thought it was out. The fucking first base coach gave him a high five like that. That changes the equation a little bit. But I still think if you're just gonna really jog and really take your time, you got to be 110% certain. You can't be 99% certain or whatever, And maybe he was. Maybe he really would have said he was 110% certain. But
for Ethan, for your reference, the Swaggy P joke is the meme where the Swaggy P on the Lakers thinks he drained the three. And he turns around and starts mugging at the camera, and it bounces out.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Yeah. All right.
I figured that might be you're not an NBA guy. So.
No, I'm not. No.
The Swaggy P era was one to forget.
Better or worse than the Jeremy Lin era?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Jeremy Lin. Wow.
Insanity.
Yeah. Wow. I like the Swaggy P thing though. This Swaggy P thing, that's really funny. I want to see that.
You must have seen the meme.
That's the type of thing in life that I love. I just love that. And the fact that we can like have a video or a picture of that of like some person being like so certain and so arrogant and just knowing, and then boom, and you see the ball like that's just amazing.
Yeah, he's got the finish. He turns around, he's got the big grin, and then like rim out.
Amazing.
So good. Well, anyway, I think we can all agree that hustle culture still sucks.
Oh, yeah, at large? Oh, at large, it's garbage, of course. 100%. Yeah. Yep.
Well,
what else we got?
By the time we convene next week,
we will know.
We will know one way or another if our beloved Yanks are moving on to likely Houston. If Seattle pulls the upset and the Yanks move on, they'll host first two games of the championship series, but the Dodgers are doing Dodgers things. I fully expect them to take care of San Diego. Last check, the Bravos were up on them fighting Phils 3-0 now, bottom 7. So might have a split here before heading to Philly and Swaggy P on the video. If you head over to YouTube, oh yeah,
amazing.
Yep. Post Kobe, it was rough.
Yeah,
it was rough. Even old Kobe was rough. So yeah. Any shout out, boys, before we
I'll do a quick one. I mentioned this last week. Brother Jeremy was offered a promotion, and he officially accepted it. He is the new junior talent buyer for Higher Ground up in Vermont, and this is something that has been kind of a dream job for him for a long time. So it's a really big deal, and so send him your love. Lots of heart emojis and kissy faces. Warmest regards and best wishes, Schitt's Creek style, all of that. So
Congrats, brother Jeremy.
Fuck yeah, Jeremy. You got a
Anything
steady
from you,
shot,
Matt?
Colin? Come on. I'm trying to think of something.
I mean, I'll give my sign off before I go.
No,
gross.
you're not allowed to give your sign off.
Yeah, no more. We're done with that.
None of that.
We got to get out of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can preempt. We are gonna lose. We are not gonna cover the spread. We are.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I can't think of anything right now.
All right.
I think that does it.
Okay, boys. Well, same time next week. We'll see
We
you then.
are coming to Penn State.
We are.